Today we'll be making the Trapped in the Unit binder cover. This binder cover is made out of vinyl with raw edges, so if you have edge paint, this is a great use for that, but it's optional. So you want to make this out of vinyl, leather, or cork, or other non-fraying materials. This features a magnetic snap closure, or you could use Velcro if you would like that to be more adjustable. The front flap has a fully lined pocket. Inside we have a slip pocket, a zipper pocket, and some loops for our pens, and then we have an accordion folder pocket. This is made to fit a 1-inch Avery binder, but there are directions included to make the binder cover for different size binders as well. Okay, let's go over the pieces that are needed to make the Trapped in the Unit binder cover. The only piece that will be visible on the exterior of the bag is the exterior main. This piece will get folded in sort of like this. So when you're looking at the wrong side, the far right of the panel is what will be on the flap. So if you're using a directional print, when we fuse the stabilizer, we'll have to keep that in mind, which is later on in the directions. So we have one exterior main. Yeah. We have one front cover interior. All of these are cut out of vinyl, so you want to use vinyl, cork, leather, non-fraying material. I believe Laura Mormino said that in her video she is going to be using waterproof canvas lining, so I would check that out if you're interested in that. So I did choose to use a couple different vinyls for this, but you can use all the same vinyl, obviously. This is the back cover interior. We have a front cover accordion pocket, interior slip pocket, interior zipper pocket, 2 zipper tabs, 2 lining pieces, and I used waterproof canvas for this. So you would want to either use waterproof canvas or interfaced cotton, but I prefer something that doesn't fray, and waterproof canvas does not fray. You will have a piece of elastic 4.5 inch wide. This is actually 5/8 inch elastic, but that will work, or 1/2 inch. And then you'll have 2 zippers, 7 3/4 for the inside pocket, and then 11 inches for the main zipper. And all of this is to make a cover for a 1-inch binder. And I feel like Avery is the standard brand here in the United States. So a 1-inch Avery binder, the binder itself measures 10 3/8 inches wide, 11 5/8 inches high, and it's 1.5 deep. So that was, this part here is actually about 1.5 inches. It's not 1 inch. The 1-inch binder refers to how wide the rings are inside. So make sure your binder measures that, or else there is also a worksheet within the pattern that you can use to measure your binder and cut custom size pieces. So let's get started. First, we want to take the interior zipper pocket. If you've used the pattern pieces, then you can cut the box out as indicated on the pattern piece. Otherwise, it is 1/2 inch from the top and ends 1/2 inch in from each side. And it is 7 inches wide and 1/2 inch tall. You'll cut that box out, and then we're going to center the one zipper, the shorter zipper, inside of that. I have 1/8 inch double-sided tape from Wizardry Stitchery. that I use. So I'm going to place some of that on both sides of the opening. I like the 1/8 inch wide tape because you don't have to worry about any of the sticky part like sticking outside of your zipper edges. With sometimes with 1/4 inch tape, it will be a little wider than what your zipper covers. So I just like to peel off one side of that at a time. And I want to make sure that this is centered from left to right. I'm going to gently press that in place because then I want to look at it from the top side and make sure that it's centered from top to bottom as well. The zipper pulls that I'm using today are from the new Moxie store. The zipper tape, I believe, was from More Me Know. This Sugar Skull vinyl is from So Dolce. And this mint green vinyl that I'm using on the inside is from Mojo Sews, and it actually glows in the dark. And then I will also be using edge paint from Mojo Sews on the finished product. So that also glows in the dark. And I ordered some glow-in-the-dark thread from someone that I was kind of hoping I'd have before I did this, but I don't have it yet. So I'm just using my thread that I normally would use that I get from Saya Swag. So some of this you can choose whether you backstitch to lock your stitches in place, or you can pull the tails of your thread to the back and tie them in a knot. So I'm just right now top stitching all the way around this box to hold my zipper in place using an 1/8 inch seam allowance. All right, and I did make sure to melt the ends of my zipper with a lighter so that they won't fray inside of the pocket. So we have the zipper sewn in place. Now we want to take the front cover accordion pocket piece right side up. We're going to measure 2.5 inches up from the bottom edge and place the interior zipper pocket at that point. We want it to be centered from left to right. So 2.5 inches. What I'm going to do is take some of my double-sided tape. So this tape is definitely very, very helpful with this project. I suppose you could do it without, but I highly recommend it. It's going to make your life much easier. I also have my ergonomic snips that are from Fabric Therapy. So I would check those out. They're pretty nice, and I feel like definitely ergonomic, which I think is what they were going for, since they named them that. All right, so I'm just going to remove the paper. All right, so 2.5 inches from the bottom edge, and then we're going to want to center this. So it will be 1/4 of an inch from each side. Sorry if you're seeing the top of my head there. And I do think that like a stiff vinyl, this glow-in-the-dark vinyl I'm using is not really super stiff, but I really like the look of it, so I'm using it. But I think a stiff vinyl works really well for this. My first test one that I did is with a super stiff vinyl that I would never be able to sew a bag with, and it worked perfectly. So I definitely would recommend that if you have a stiff vinyl that you don't think you'll be able to use for bag making. It will work great for this. And I'm just using a 1/8 inch seam allowance again, all the way around this piece to stitch it in place. Okay, next we're going to place the interior slip pocket on. So we want to use our 1/8 inch double-sided tape along both sides and the bottom. Okay. We're going to place this along the top of the zipper pocket, matching it up with the top, obviously, and then with the left side of the pocket. And then we're going to sew from the top down across the bottom and across the other side. And you just want to make sure that that's straight and 1/4 inch from the top as well. And you want to make sure to back stitch at the start and stop, or to pull your threads through to the back and tie them in a knot. Just remember, if you do that, the knots will be visible inside of your accordion pocket because this is not lined. So whatever you see on the back of this is what will be inside of the accordion slip pocket. Alright, so now we're going to, with the wrong side facing up, we're going to measure 1 1/4 inch from the top straight edge and the bottom straight edge and make a mark. Okay, and then we'll want to mark another line that is 1 1/4 inches from the top. Okay, and then we want to mark 2 more lines that are 3 1/4 inches from the top and bottom. So that would be 2 inches from my other line. And you want to use like an erasable pen or chalk. Okay, so first we're going to fold right sides together along the 1 1/4 inch line. Just place some clips on here to hold it. I get these clips from moremeknow.com, and they are perfect for flat things like this. And then we're just going to sew along that fold using an 1/8 inch seam allowance. repeat this on the other fold. 1/8 inch seam allowance. All right. Now we're going to flip this over and fold fold the first 1 1/4 inch mark back to the second line that you made. And I'll show you in just a second what that looks like from the front. Okay, so this is what we're doing. It's making this fold, and that's where we're going to top stitch that. Let me go ahead and pin my other one in place as well, the other side. So now from the right side, we're going to fold the first part back out of the way so that we only have the folded part here, and we're going to sew through that as well using a 1/8 inch seam allowance along that fold only. Alright, and then do the same thing here. Okay, so now we have this. We're going to take the elastic and you're going to make these marks. One is 1/4 inch in, 1 inch from that, 1 inch from that, 1 inch from that, 1 inch from that. So you should end up with 5 lines marked on your elastic. We're going to place this 1/4 inch from the right side of the interior slip pocket with the loops, with the tops aligned, sorry. So it should be about right here. I'm just going to kind of estimate that. And this is just like pen loops, so you could leave this off if you want, because you could slide pens into this pocket. So you want to place that, and I'm going to sew all the way across, and I'm going to back stitch, and then I'm going to sew all the way across again, just to make sure that it's securely in place. And then I think I actually will not trim my threads. Okay, so now I have this. And now pull that back, and I'm going to take my roller that I lost. Okay, I'm going to take my ruler. This is also from mormino.com. I'm going to measure 1/2 inch from where that elastic is sewn down and make a mark. And then I want to bring this 1 inch mark on the elastic to match up with the mark I just made on the vinyl. Okay. And I kind of just hold this all in place as I do it. You can't really pin vinyl, and this would be kind of awkward to try to tape, I think. Find my bobbin. It's always important to hold on to the threads, the tails of your threads, so they don't tangle up. Okay, so I'm just going to check to make sure that's still lined up. It is. Okay, and then we're going to repeat that for the rest of the lines. So measure 1/2 inch. And if you had like thicker markers or something that you wanted to put in this, you may want to change the measurements. You might want it to be more than a 1 inch mark on the elastic and further than a 1/2 inch mark on the vinyl. So keep that in mind. This is for like a standard size pen. Or I suppose like highlighters or something. But if they were like very wide, you'd want to use different measurements. Okay, only 2 more. This is probably, I think, the most tedious part. And also, if I did not mention it, when I cut my elastic, I hit the ends of it with a lighter to melt it so that it won't fray. All right, one more. Okay, so now we have our little elastic loops for 4 pens. and you would just slide them in like this from the top, and they should hold it in place. Or, you know, a pen that has a clip thing on it, you would just clip it over that. So, or you can place them in here, you can place a calculator in there. Alright, so moving on, we want the front cover interior. This should fit from top to bottom on your front cover interior, and then we're going to center it from left to right. So I'm going to use some of my tape along the bottom. And the top and bottom right now I'm only going to put in place. I'm not going to sew them yet. They will get sewn on the final step. If you notice that this piece is a little bit too long right now, go ahead and trim equal amounts from the top and bottom. As long as it's not too much, that will be okay. Let's see. Alright, so I'm going to take the tape off my bottom first and center it from left to right, which, let's see, this is 9 1/4 wide, and this is 8 1/2 wide, so we want it to be 3/8 of an inch from each side. I'm just going to eyeball what centered is, so you could measure though. Alright. I'm going to peel the tape off of the side, because I won't be able to after I stick down the top, but I'm not going to press this firmly in place yet. Because what I want to do is get the top centered and press down. Like so. And then press down the underneath part and then press down the whole side. Okay, so you should have this right now. And this acts as an accordion pocket where you can put papers. So we're just going to right now top stitch the left side only. And you're going to start at the bottom and sew over the accordion portion. So we do want to make sure to back stitch there. And we're using 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. And that's the only part that we're going to do right now. The other part we will, at the moment, leave unsewn. And it's just held in place by the tape. So now I'm going to set this aside for now. We want to fuse the flap stabilizer piece to the wrong side of the exterior main and the back cover interior. Each one should be a 1/2 inch from the short end and centered from top to bottom. If using directional vinyl, make sure that the right side is facing up and the Decoville is fused as shown to the left. So Decoville should be fused, my vinyl is directional, so my Decoville will be fused to the right side of the back or the main. And if this vinyl was directional, I would fuse the Decoville to the left side. So keep that in mind. I already fused mine. We are now going to place the snaps, magnetic snaps here. We want to measure 1 3/8 inch in from the left edge and 2 inches down from the top, and then 1 3/8 from the left and 2 inches up from the bottom. So 1 3/8 from the left and 2 inches up from the bottom. And we'll make one mark there. And then we'll repeat that mark here. So 2 inches and 1 3/8 inch. And this is on the back cover interior. Now I'm going to take 2 magnetic snaps, and I want just the same side. It doesn't matter if you put like the outie side, which is called the male, or the female side, which is like the innie. It doesn't matter which one is in which spot. We're going to make those marks, and then I'm just going to take my seam ripper and cut a slit along each of those marks. All right, and here if you had duct tape, you could go ahead and place this over the prongs. I do not have any on hand, so I'm not going to do that. You'll just slip the prongs through the slits that you just made. Ow. All right. You want to flatten the prongs. I like to flatten mine out. I know some people fold them in. I think it's personal preference. I like to fold them out because it's flatter that way. And these are thin magnetic snaps. And I got these from moremenow.com, if I didn't already say that. But I prefer the thin magnetic snaps. So those 2 snaps are installed. Okay, we have our 2 zipper tabs. We're going to take the double-sided tape and place a piece of it along the longer side of each of the zipper tabs. Okay, we want to fold each of the tabs over an end of the zipper tape. So you want to place the zipper tape so it's like halfway, so that the vinyl will fold over evenly. Okay. So we have that. I'm going to go ahead and top stitch using a 1/8 inch seam allowance. And do the other side. All right, we want to take our back cover interior like this. So your snaps are now on the right side. Place your zipper so that it's closing toward the top and place it right side down and center it from left to right. So this might be helpful to actually find the center. This way, closing at the top, face down. Oh, I've made it this far, but I think I'm going to switch to my zipper foot. Or maybe we'll see if I can just do without. All right, we want to use a 1/4 inch seam allowance to baste the zipper in place. Move the zipper pull out of the way as needed. All right, now we're going to take one of our lining panels, place it right side down over the zipper, centered from top to bottom. And then we want to sew this in place using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. Because of my sewing machine, my foot, I might only be able to do a 1/4 inch, and I think that will be fine. Ideally, it would be 3/8. Or if I switched out to my zipper foot, it would be 3/8. let's see what I can do. Make sure you back stitch at the start and stop as well. Okay, we want to fold the lining and back cover interior now wrong sides together and away from the zipper. We're going to top stitch along the zipper using a 1/8 inch seam allowance, back stitching at the start and stop. And then, okay, one thing at a time. So I cannot iron since this is vinyl. So I'm just going to finger press. There are seam rollers available, and I just saw new seam rollers that Zorel is selling. Those look awesome, but that would be a good use of that in a situation like this. My foot's messing my vinyl up. Okay. Now we're going to repeat that process to sew the other side of the zipper to the exterior main and the other lining panel. So we would want to place the zipper right side up on the side of the exterior main where the Decoville is attached. It's going to be centered again from top to bottom. Alright, we're just going to sew that on using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, we're going to place the other lining panel right side down along that same edge and center it from top to bottom. and it should be matching up with the other lining panel that's already attached. I'll just clip this in place. These sewing clips are also from moremeknow.com. I'm going to slide the zipper all the way out of the way. And we're just going to sew this together, also using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. When you start to get close to that zipper, go ahead and stop with your needle down and slide it out of the way. Okay, we're going to place the two lining panels right sides to, wait, no, we want to top stitch this first. Yes, okay. So fold everything like this. We're going to fold the main exterior and that lining panel wrong sides together and away from the zipper. I'm going to top stitch that. Using a 1/8 inch seam allowance, and I'm just kind of rolling up the vinyl so it's out of my way. All right, now we're going to pull these lining panels right sides together and clip all the way around them. It's easier to clip the long edge first. All right, now we're just going to start here. You want to make sure you don't sew through any of the vinyl, only sew through that lining panel. And if you are not all the way up at the top seam, that's fine, because this will probably not get caught. It's fine. Just do the best you can. And I'm just sewing this at a 1/4 inch seam allowance ish. Okay, so we've just sewed the pocket together. Now we're just going to fold the back cover interior wrong sides together with the main exterior as so, and the zipper will be all the way to the right if your lining side is facing up right now. And we're just going to go ahead and clip the sides in place like this, all the way to the edge. Repeat that on the other side. And none of your lining, the side of your lining pieces should not be sticking out here. So if it is, go ahead and trim that a little bit. And you want to get this as neat as possible, and match it up as evenly as possible, because this will be the raw edge of the finished binder. The raw edges are exposed on this project, so you can use edge paint on those if you choose, which is what I'm planning on doing, but that's totally optional, and that's why we're using non-fraying material. Okay, so right now we're just going to sew from here down to the end, and backstitch at the start and stop. And you want to make sure that this backstitch is very secure, because you will be sliding the binder in and out of this part. So really, if you want to backstitch a couple times, that might not be a bad idea. And we're using, again, 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. My foot is really not good to this vinyl. Alright, we're going to repeat that and sew this side together, also using a 1/8 inch seam allowance. We're going to measure now 4 inches from the zipper. I'm going to make a mark. You'll want to use something erasable for this, so my pen might not be completely erasable, but I'm also not like selling this, so I don't care. You could use tape. Washi tape works well for this kind of thing to mark your line, and then you can just pull it off. So now we want to sew directly along that line from top to bottom. All right, and then we're going to sew 3 more lines, each 1/4 of an inch apart to the left of this. So I'm just going to use my foot as a guide, kind of 1/4 of an inch. You can measure them out if you want. I'm going to do this. And these stitches are also making sure that the bottom of your pocket is sewn closed. Yeah. And if they're not exactly 1/4 of an inch, that's not a big deal. So these lines are just to help encourage the finished binder to bend where it's supposed to, which it doesn't really need to right now, but that is the purpose of that. Okay, so on the right side of the exterior main, we want to measure 2 3/4 inch in from the right edge and 2 inches from the top and bottom. 2 3/4 inch in from the right edge and 2 inches from the bottom. We're going to make a mark there. And then we're also going to make a mark 2 3/4 of an inch from the top and 2 inches in from the right side. And make a mark there. Alright, we'll go ahead and use the washer from our magnetic snap to mark the spots where we want to slit the vinyl. And then using a seam ripper, just go ahead and make those slits in the vinyl. You could put a scrap of Decovil Heavy behind this if you chose to, for a little extra stability or strength or whatever, just to prevent the magnetic snaps from pulling out. And then again, if you have duct tape, once you have put these in place and open the prongs, you can put a piece of duct tape over that to help hold the prongs and also to help protect the other side from rubbing against the metal. Somebody doesn't know how to measure. So we're going to go ahead and pretend like that hole is just going to be right in the front of my thing. We're just going to ignore that though. Measure twice cut once. 2 3/4, not 3 3/4. So we're just going to leave that there. And again, good thing I said I'm not selling this, huh? If you're using a binder that's a different size than the 1 inch, your placement marks should be the same. Oh, I hope that does not show on my outside of my finished thing, so I can at least take good pictures. And there's an outtake for you. I'm feeling rushed because I need to get to the grocery store pretty soon to pick up my groceries. Oh, good thing I'm about done. All right, now we want to take our completed front interior and place it wrong sides together with the exterior. And we're just going to clip that in place. I just want to make sure that my edges line up really well. You can always trim them a little bit to make them nice and even if you want to put edge coat on them. But I'd rather just line it up evenly in the first place, so I'm going to try to do. Now we're going to sew all the way around this using a 1/8 inch seam allowance. And again, this is a part where you'll want to back stitch really well since you will be sliding the binder in and out of this part. Okay, and trim your threads, and then you can either leave this raw edged or you can go ahead and use edge paint on the raw edges. We'll slide the binder in, and this is just my son's leftover binder from school last year actually. So if you kind of fold your binder backwards like this, and you can slide both sides in easily that way. Slide the front, and this is where you want to be pretty precise in using your 1/8 of an inch seam allowance around the outside edges, because otherwise your binder may not fit. And it's probably easier to put it in without paper in it. And then you have a pocket here to slide papers into, a zipper pocket for small things, a calculator spot, and you could also use Velcro if you want the flap to be adjustable. So right now this flap only has the one spot where it will clip, which leaves room for the binder to be filled up. So there you have it. This is the trapped in the unit binder cover pattern. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. I hope to see your binder covers. You can post them in my group, which is linked in the description. Make sure you give me a follow here on YouTube and join the Facebook group. Thanks for watching.